Joining us now, a former Chewy.com board member, got no pull anymore, and its first institutional investor, Larry Cheng, co-founder and managing partner of Volition Capital. You were the first one and a pretty big one. And you knew Amazon was doing this. What about Chewy made you think it would work?
What we saw was the rise of the premium pet food market. And at the early days, the premium pet food manufacturers didn't want to work with Amazon. They didn't view Amazon as understanding their product and being able to represent it well. And what they saw in Chewy was a company that was totally committed to the pet category and to the pet customer. So they understood the product. So there was a merchandising advantage at the outset for Chewy in this category.
And you saw that immediately?
We could see that, absolutely, yes. The other distinction is Chewy cares about the pet food customer way more than Amazon. If you engage with them as a customer, which I hope you will, you'll see that the level of service, the level of content, the level of touch that they will give to a pet food customer absolutely exceeds what Amazon can do.
Like what? What kind of things do they do?
They will send you flowers. If they will send you pet portraits, they will give you 24/7, 365 customer service. So if it's 1 a.m. in the morning and you need advice on how to feed your dog a certain type of product, you can call them and they will talk to you. And on any given day, the longest talk time between a Chewy customer service rep and a customer is over 2 hours. So they are trained and they are guided to just wow the customer with service, and that's something Amazon will never do.
What would you take 2 hours on the phone describing to somebody?
If you have 8 cats, maybe you need to talk about each of them for 10 minutes.
Don't bring up cats. Let's stick with pets that did actually reciprocate.
I had a cat that loved me. I had a cat that loved me. He thought he was a dog.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he's following me all over the
They've
neighborhood.
proven that they're very aloof and that dogs are happy to. Are you sure?
Cats are good too.
So revenue's going crazy.
Yep.
But you know the knock is that losses aren't really going down at the same rate that revenues are going up.
It's a classic e-commerce play where they have tremendous customer loyalty, and where they're losing money is they are spending on acquisition because they're gaining customers and keeping them for life. So that's the logical play when you keep your customers forever. If they wanted to be profitable, they could slow down their acquisition spend. They'd be profitable overnight.
So you're fully behind this strategy at this point.
We started this many years ago.
And you're going to do it this way.
It only makes sense. It usually doesn't make sense, to be honest, but it only makes sense if your customers never leave. And that's the special sauce with Chewy, which you talked about early on.
55% of online sales, huh? So that's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, but what's the most unbelievable is the customers, what they spend in year 5 is the same as what they spend in year 1, and that level of loyalty is really exceptional.
Larry, we had a conversation earlier just talking about how so much of this is going back to PetSmart. So much of the money that's raised in this IPO, I think something like $900 million of the $1.1 billion, which doesn't leave a lot to invest back in Chewy.com. Is that a concern?
Yeah, I think it is a concern because to keep pace with Amazon, you just got to own this market. And right now, it's probably a 50-50 battle between the two of them. So Chewy should continue to invest aggressively, continue to own this customer. And scale has always been their advantage in this category, so they can't slow it down. I would say they need to continue to keep the pedal to the metal and acquire aggressively.
So are they going to need to raise more capital to do that?
It's possible. I couldn't predict that.
So when PetSmart bought Chewy, I'm assuming Chewy started to run the overall online business. Now that Chewy is a separate company, does PetSmart.com have now compete against Chewy?
So when PetSmart acquired Chewy, Chewy remained independent, and it was run out of South Florida as it always had been. And PetSmart had really remained independent as a retailer. Going forward, I think Chewy really will become what PetSmart could have been. And I think the days of PetSmart and Petco are more challenged as e-commerce continues to rise.
So, go ahead.
Oh, I was just curious. Earlier you mentioned that, in the early days of Chewy, the premium pet suppliers didn't want to work with Amazon. I'm assuming that's changed now since you said that it's a 50-50 race between the two?
Not entirely. There are certainly very high-quality premium pet food manufacturers now that are now wrestling with even working with Chewy because they're PetSmart-owned. What they really want is a kind of a handcrafted custom experience for their product. So it's sort of like selling a Louis Vuitton product on Amazon. Louis Vuitton doesn't want to do that, and some of these manufacturers view their product as a Louis Vuitton of pet food. So there still is a merchandising distinction to a certain degree, but I think the larger distinction today is just the level of service that Chewy is pouring into their customers.